You have been told that your body is a temple. This is a common, comforting lie. A temple is a static monument, a place for passive worship. Your body, especially when faced with a chronic condition like diabetes, is not a temple. It is a fortress under a quiet, relentless siege. And a fortress requires not a worshiper but a strategist, a commander who understands that the strength of the walls depends entirely on the quality of the provisions supplied to the garrison within. The battle for your health is not won with hope. It is won with logistics. It is won, meal by meal, with reasoned, deliberate choice. Today, we are not here to discuss a diet. Diets are for amateurs. They are temporary tactics based on restriction and fleeting motivation. We are here to architect a strategy of sustenance, a way of living where every act of eating is an act of defiance against disorder, a reinforcement of your inner citadel. We will discuss 6 specific tools, foods, you would call them, that are uniquely suited for this campaign. But understand this: the food is secondary. The primary weapon is your mind, your ability to choose reason over impulse, discipline over desire. This is the operating system we will install today. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus gave us the master key 2,000 years ago. Some things are within our control, and some are not. Your diagnosis? Not in your control. The genetic lottery? Not in your control. The chaotic noise of the world telling you to indulge your every craving? Not in your control. But the plate in front of you, the choice of what crosses your lips, that is the headquarters of your command. It is entirely, unequivocally within your control. So let us begin our strategic briefing. Let's fortify the walls. 128. The Red Bell Pepper, a lesson in radical simplicity. In the world I came from, the tech industry, we worshipped complexity. We believed the most intricate, multi-layered solution was always the superior one. We built algorithms so baroque they became monuments to our own cleverness, often forgetting the simple problem they were meant to solve. It as a flaw in human nature. We equate complexity with value and overlook the profound power of the simple. This is the first error in judgment we must correct. Your first tool in this fight is the red bell pepper. It is not exotic. It is not a superfood from a remote mountain. It is simple. It is humble. And it is a powerhouse of strategic value. For the diabetic, it offers sweetness without the glycemic penalty. For kidney health, its most potent virtue is what it lacks: potassium. In a world where you must be vigilant about what you consume, this simple vegetable asks for nothing and gives you everything. It is rich in vitamin C, A, and B6. Essential nutrients for cellular repair and immune function. It builds you up without tearing you down. I remember a time in my old company when we were facing a catastrophic server failure. My senior engineers, brilliant minds all, were lost in a labyrinth of complex code, proposing multi-million-dollar hardware overhauls. The pressure was immense. Then, a junior programmer, a young woman we had barely noticed, quietly pointed out a single, flawed line of logic, a simple error in a foundational script. She didn't have a dazzling solution. She had a simple observation. Fixing that one line saved the company. The red bell pepper on your plate is that junior programmer. It is the simple, correct answer you have been overlooking while searching for a miracle cure. How do you apply this? Stop overthinking your meals. The practical application of this principle is radical simplification. Slice these peppers and eat them raw as a snack. The crunch satisfies the desire for texture that often leads to potato chips. Sauté them with a bit of garlic and olive oil to accompany a lean protein. The natural sugars caramelize, providing a depth of flavor that makes salt-heavy sauces obsolete. You are not just eating a vegetable. You are practicing the virtue of focusing on the essential. You are stripping away the unnecessary to reveal the effective. So I ask you, where else in your life are you chasing a complex, dazzling solution when a simple, disciplined action is the real answer? Are you looking for an elaborate financial instrument to build wealth when the simple habit of consistent saving is what's required? 2-8. Cabbage, the unseen strength of the humble. Our culture celebrates the glamorous, the star quarterback, the celebrity CEO, the exotic fruit flown halfway across the world. We are conditioned to associate value with prestige. But the strategist, the philosopher, knows that true strength often resides in the humble, the overlooked, the foundational. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, spent his nights writing not about his conquests, but about the need for humility, service, and a simple life. He understood that an empire, like a man, rots from the inside when it forgets the value of the humble. This brings us to our second tool, cabbage. It's perhaps the least glamorous vegetable in the produce aisle. It's cheap, it's common, and it is one of the most powerful allies you have. Like the red bell pepper, it is exceptionally low in potassium. But it is also a cruciferous vegetable, packed with phytochemicals that help combat chronic inflammation, a fire that rages in the background of both diabetes and kidney disease. It provides fiber, which slows the absorption of sugar and promotes a healthy gut, the true foundation of your body's entire system. I once mentored a young man, a brilliant executive named David. He was a vice president at 32, a true rock star in his field. When his company was acquired, he was given a new role. On paper, it was a lateral move, but in his mind, it was a profound demotion. He was no longer the star. He was tasked with managing the boring logistical backbone of the new, larger entity. He was furious, his ego wounded. He wanted to quit. I told him to embrace the cabbage. I said, anyone can be the star. It takes a true leader to master the fundamentals that allow the stars to shine. This isn't a demotion, it's the most important job in the company. He stayed. For 2 years, he quietly mastered the unglamorous work. When the next economic downturn came, the flashy, high-cost departments were gutted. But his division, the humble, efficient core, became the bedrock the entire company rebuilt itself upon. He became the CEO not in spite of his humble job, but because of it. Your practical application is to see cabbage not as a filler, but as a foundation. Shred it raw into a slaw with a simple olive oil and vinegar dressing to replace starchy sides like pasta salad. Braise it slowly with onions and garlic until it is sweet and tender, a comforting and powerful accompaniment to any meal. Use its large leaves as wraps for lean ground meat or fish, eliminating the need for processed tortillas or bread. You are choosing the humble and the strong over the flashy and the weak. So, ask yourself this. What humble tools, people, or principles are you currently overlooking because your ego is demanding something more prestigious? Are you willing to do the unglamorous work that builds true, lasting strength? 3-8. Garlic, the power of concentrated intention. We live in an age of distraction, of diluted effort. We multitask, we skim, we spread our attention so thinly across so many demands that we make a meaningful impact on none of them. We are a mile wide and an inch deep. The Stoic path is the opposite. It is about concentrated intention. It is about focusing your full power on the task at hand, no matter how small. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, Marcus Aurelius wrote, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. Your third tool is the physical embodiment of this principle. Garlic. A single clove is small. It is insignificant in a basket of groceries, but its influence on a meal is immense. It transforms the bland into the savory. It turns a simple dish into a deliberate creation. For our purposes, its strategic value is twofold. First, it is a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. But more importantly, it is the greatest weapon you have against your primary dietary enemy, sodium. A failing kidney's ability to process salt is compromised, and high sodium intake is poison. But the human palate craves flavor. Garlic provides that intense, satisfying flavor without the penalty of salt. It allows you to create deeply satisfying food that works for you, not against you. I learned this lesson not in a boardroom, but in a garage. When I started my first software company, I had a vision for a massive, sprawling platform that would do everything for everyone. I spent a year and all my money trying to build this behemoth, and I failed. I had nothing. Defeated, I sat down and decided to build only one thing. A single, small, elegant tool that solved one problem, but solved it perfectly. I focused all my energy, every line of code, with concentrated intention. That small tool became the foundation of my entire career. It did one thing, but its impact was massive. That is garlic. It is not the whole meal, it is the focused, concentrated intention that gives the meal its power and purpose. The practical application is to make a conscious declaration of war on processed salts. Throw out the garlic powder, which is often cut with salt and anti-caking agents. Use fresh garlic cloves. Crush them, slice them, roast them whole. Let them be the primary flavor agent in your cooking. This is not just a culinary choice, it is a philosophical one. You are choosing to bring intention and potency into your life in a small, tangible way. You are training your mind to focus its power rather than diluting its efforts. Reflect on this. Where in your life are you currently a mile wide and an inch deep? What is the one single area where, if you were to apply concentrated garlic-like intention, you could create a profound and positive impact? 4.8. Berries. Finding sweetness in reasoned discipline. One of the greatest misunderstandings of Stoicism is that it is a philosophy of joyless, grim endurance, that to be a Stoic is to eliminate all pleasure from your life. This is a caricature. The Stoics were not against pleasure, they were against slavery to pleasure. They were against the kind of pleasure that comes from mindless, impulsive indulgence, the kind that ultimately weakens you. True, lasting joy, they argued, comes from living in accordance with nature and reason. It comes from pleasures that align with your purpose, not those that undermine it. This brings us to our fourth tool: berries. Blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. In a world where sugar is a pervasive, destructive force, especially for a diabetic, the craving for sweetness can feel like an enemy you can never defeat. Berries are the diplomat, the peace treaty. They offer a natural, vibrant sweetness, but it is packaged with fiber, which slows down the sugar's entry into your bloodstream. They are packed with antioxidants and phytonutrients that protect your cells from the oxidative stress that is a hallmark of chronic disease. They are, in essence, a reasoned indulgence, a pleasure that serves your long-term mission. I think back to the relentless hustle of my early career. The sweetness I chased was external validation, a bigger deal, a more impressive title, the envy of my competitors. It was a sugar high. It was thrilling for a moment, and then it would crash, leaving me anxious and needing another bigger hit. The burnout it caused was my crucible. In rebuilding my life, I had to find a different kind of sweetness. I found it in a quiet morning, reading a book before the world awoke. I found it in the uninterrupted dinner with my family. I found it in the satisfaction of solving a difficult problem for a mentee. These were the pleasures that built me up, that fortified my soul. They were the berries, not the cheap candy. Your application of this is to retrain your palate and your mind. When a craving for something sweet and destructive arises, you must have a pre-planned, strategic response. A small bowl of mixed berries. It is not a punishment. It is not a compromise. It is an elevated choice. You are choosing a complex, beneficial sweetness over a simple, destructive one. You are not depriving yourself, you are respecting yourself. You are teaching your body and your impulses that you, the rational mind, are in command, and that the commander chooses pleasures that strengthen the fortress. Ask yourself this critical question: is the sweetness you are chasing in your life, in your career, your relationships, your habits, serving your long-term goals, Or is it a momentary pleasure that is costing you your freedom and your strength? 5 and 8. Olive oil, the strategic value of fluidity. The untrained mind desires rigidity. It seeks black and white rules, fixed plans, and the illusion of a predictable future. When reality inevitably disrupts these rigid plans, the untrained mind shatters. It panics, it despairs, it freezes. The Stoic mind, however, cultivates fluidity. It understands that the world is in constant flux. The plan is not the goal, the mission is the goal. And achieving the mission requires the ability to adapt, to bend, to flow around obstacles without breaking. As Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. The mind is strengthened not by avoiding difficulty, but by adapting to it. Our fifth tool, extra virgin olive oil, is the physical representation of this principle. For decades, we were told that all fat was the enemy, a rigid, simplistic rule. We now understand that the right kinds of fats are not only beneficial but essential. Olive oil is a monounsaturated fat, a potent anti-inflammatory. It lubricates the body's systems. For diabetics, it helps improve insulin sensitivity. For everyone, it supports heart and brain health. It is the opposite of a rigid, inflammatory saturated or trans fat. It is fluid strength. It is the agent of adaptation within your body. I'm reminded of a crucial negotiation for a company merger. Our strategy was rigid. We had a list of 10 demands we considered non-negotiable. Within the first hour, the other side flatly rejected 3 of them. My team was ready to walk. They saw it as a failure. I called for a break and told them, "We are acting like brittle, dry wood. We need to be like oil." We went back in, not with rigid demands, but with a fluid focus on our core objective, a favorable outcome for our employees. We abandoned our previous tactics and flowed around their objections, proposing new structures, new timelines. By being fluid, we reached an agreement that was more innovative and more successful than our original rigid plan could have ever been. The practical application of this is to shift your mindset from no fat to right fat. Use olive oil to make your own salad dressings with vinegar and herbs, replacing the processed, sugar-laden, and sodium-heavy bottles from the store. Use it to sauté your vegetables. Drizzle it over cooked fish or chicken. You are not just adding calories, you are adding a strategic, anti-inflammatory tool that makes your entire system more resilient and adaptive. It is a conscious choice to lubricate your body against the friction of disease. Here is your reflection. In what area of your life are you being rigid and brittle when you should be fluid and adaptive? Are you clinging to a failed plan, a broken relationship, or an outdated belief simply because you fear the uncertainty of change? 6 or 8. Fatty fish, building the foundation of your citadel. A fortress is only as strong as its foundations. You can have the most brilliant strategists and the most courageous soldiers, but if the stones of the walls are crumbling, the entire enterprise is doomed. Before you can engage in advanced philosophy, before you can master the complex terrain of your mind, you must ensure the foundation is sound. This means tending to the physical vessel that houses your consciousness. You cannot build an iron mind in a body of sand. This is where our 6th tool comes in. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, herring, sardines. This is not just food, these are the core building materials for your fortress. They provide an exceptionally high-quality source of protein, essential for maintaining muscle mass and repairing tissue, which is a constant battle in a body under metabolic stress. But their true strategic asset is their abundance of omega-3 fatty acids. These are not just nutrients, they are agents of systemic defense. They are among the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds you can consume, directly countering the chronic inflammation that drives the progression of kidney and cardiovascular disease in diabetics. They are also critical for brain health, the command center of your entire operation. When I was recovering from my burnout, stripped of my titles and my ego, I realized my entire life had been an inverted pyramid. I had focused on the highest levels of achievement while utterly neglecting the foundation. My first step back was not reading Seneca. It was going for a walk. It was getting 8 hours of sleep, and it was eating a proper meal. I remember grilling a simple piece of salmon. It felt like the first truly constructive act I had taken in years. I was not just eating. I was laying the first stone of a new foundation. I was providing my body, my brain, the basic materials it needed to even begin the work of rebuilding. You cannot think your way out of a problem if your brain is starved of the very fats it is built from. The practical application is to make this a non-negotiable part of your weekly logistics. Schedule it, plan for it, aim for 2 servings per week. Whether you bake, grill, or pan-sear it, the method is less important than the consistency. If fresh fish is too expensive, high-quality canned salmon or sardines are an excellent, cost-effective alternative. This is not a luxury. In your position, it is a strategic necessity. You are consciously deciding to supply your garrison with the highest quality materials available. So, I ask you, are you truly tending to the foundations of your well-being, your sleep, your movement, your core nutrition? Or are you trying to build a magnificent life on a crumbling, neglected foundation? 7. State. The meal plan as a philosophical practice. We have discussed the individual tools, the materials you will use to fortify your health, but tools lying in a heap are useless. They must be assembled with a blueprint, with a daily plan that transforms abstract knowledge into concrete action. This is where most people fail. They have the information, but they lack the architecture of routine. A meal plan is not a prison of restriction. It is the trellis upon which a disciplined life grows. It is the daily practice of your philosophy. Let's design a sample day, not as a rigid prescription, but as an example of the principles in action. Morning, the deliberate start. Instead of a chaotic rush fueled by a sugary cereal or a pastry, you begin with intention. Steel-cut oats, cooked slowly. This is not the instant, high-glycemic wallpaper paste. This is a complex carbohydrate that provides sustained energy. On top, you add your reasoned indulgence, a handful of berries. You are choosing sustained fuel and strategic sweetness. This meal is a statement. I will not begin my day in chaos. I will begin it with deliberate, reasoned action. Midday. The simple fortification. Lunch is where convenience often leads to disaster. The sodium and sugar-laden takeout, the processed sandwich. Your strategic alternative is planned. A large salad built on a bed of shredded cabbage and mixed greens. On top, a serving of flaked salmon from the previous night's dinner. Slices of red bell pepper for crunch and vitamins. The dressing, your own creation of olive oil, lemon juice, and crushed garlic. This meal takes 5 minutes to assemble if you have done the prep. It is simple, powerful, and reinforces your mission. It is a quiet victory in the middle of a chaotic day. Evening, the foundational repair. The end of the day is for rebuilding. A modest portion of grilled chicken or fish. Your side dish is not the high-potassium potato or the starchy pasta. It is a generous portion of braised cabbage and onions, seasoned with garlic and herbs. Perhaps some steamed asparagus. This meal is designed to be satisfying, low in metabolic stress, and rich in the nutrients your body needs to repair itself overnight. It is an act of respect for the vessel that carries you through the world. This isn't about recipes, it's about a rhythm. The Stoics called this ascesis, a rigorous, repetitive training. Your meal plan is your ascesis. Preparing your meals on a Sunday afternoon is not a chore. It is a philosophical exercise. It is the act of imposing order on future chaos. You are anticipating the moment of weakness, the moment of fatigue, and you are making the right choice for your future self, now, while you are strong and rational. So, the question is not, what will I eat tomorrow? The real question is, are you willing to treat the mundane act of planning your meals with the same seriousness and intention as you would a critical business project? Can you see that your kitchen is as important a training ground for your character as any gym or library? 8.8. Beyond the plate, forging the indifferent mind. I have given you the tools. I have given you the blueprint. But now we must discuss the battlefield itself, because the battle is not on your plate. It is in the space between your ears. The most perfectly designed meal plan is useless if the mind that must execute it is a slave to every passing impulse. The ultimate goal is not just to eat well. It is to forge a mind that is indifferent to the pull of destructive cravings. The Stoics had a term for this, apatheia. It does not mean apathy in the modern sense of not caring. It means a state of tranquility, of being undisturbed by the passions, those irrational emotional responses that pull us off our chosen path. A craving for a piece of cake is a passion. The anxiety that leads to stress eating is a passion. These feelings will arise. You cannot stop them. Epictetus would say they are not up to us. They are external impressions. But your assent to them, your agreement that they must be acted upon, that is entirely up to you. I will tell you a story from my own crucible. After my burnout, my most destructive habit wasn't overworking, but reactive anger. A minor inconvenience, a delayed flight, a market downturn would trigger a storm of cortisol and rage inside me. For years, I thought I was the storm. Then, through practice, I learned to see the storm coming. I would feel the heat rise in my chest, and in that split second, I learned to create a pause. I would say to myself, an impression is knocking at the door. It is just an impression. It is not the thing it claims to be. Let us not assent. I would not suppress the feeling, but I would refuse to grant it command. The feeling was a stray dog barking at my gate. I could hear it, acknowledge it, and choose not to let it in. This is the practical work you must now do. When the craving for the donut in the break room arises, you must practice the cognitive pause. Step 1. Acknowledge. Do not fight it. Say internally, "Ah, there's the sensation of craving. Interesting." You are not the craving. You are the observer of the craving. Step 2. Interrogate. Ask it, "What do you promise me?" A moment of pleasure. And what is your price? A setback in my health, a weakening of my discipline, a betrayal of my own goals. You are applying logic to an emotional impulse. Step 3. Act deliberately. Do not just stand there fighting. Take one small, physical action that aligns with your true intention. Get a glass of water. Walk away from the break room. Open an app and read one of your favorite quotes. You are replacing a reactive, destructive circuit with a deliberate, constructive one. This is the war. Not with food, but with your own automatic reactions. The food is just the training ground. The skills you build here, the discipline, the foresight, the ability to separate stimulus from response, will serve you in every other arena of your life. You are not just managing a disease. You are mastering the art of living. You are building an inner citadel that no external event and no internal impulse can ever truly breach. So my final question to you is this. When the battle comes tomorrow, in the form of a craving a moment of stress or an old habit, will you be a slave to the impulse or will you be the commander of your own mind?